Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Haute Living, Haute Residence Game Changers. I'm Ernie Carswell, Director, Haute Residence, Haute Living. We have a great lineup today for a coast-to-coast interview and panel with the best of the best that are partners of ours. And also, I'm very excited about today because I feel like we have an amazing cast of 3 top agents across the country, all in different areas, who are very well spoken and be very entertaining with the crew that we have on right now. I don't think they know each other yet, but by the end of this, I think they'll get along very well. You guys have all been in the real estate market a very, very, very long time. You're all the top in your market, top 100 Wall Street Journal, and have some amazing insight into what's going on with Corona in your markets and across the country and globally. So let's get right into it. First of all, I want to introduce 2 partners that have been on before with us. First of all, Darlene Streit. Darlene, thanks again for joining us. Number 2 in 2020, correct? With Sotheby's International Realty number 2 agent worldwide, right?
Yeah, in the country. Yeah.
In the country. Why not number 1?
Maybe world. I think in the country. Yeah. So
why not number 1?
Number 1 probably did about 1/10 as many deals as I did. So, yeah.
I'm just joking. That's amazing. I know we wrote an article on it, and when it was announced, and that's terrific. I know you're number 1, obviously, of course, in the state of New Mexico, Santa Fe, is where your office is, and I know we were talking a little bit offline. And previously, the issue was not making sales; it was inventory. With so much demand, people coming to your area.
Inventory. Oh, it's gotten worse. Yeah.
And I think that you like pink because I've noticed you wear pink a lot.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah. Well,
I like pink too.
Orange, but I like pink.
I'm wearing pink pants actually, right here.
Well, there you go. Oh, perfect. See, we could. Yeah.
So thank you. We'll come back around to you here in a minute. I just want to introduce everyone. Ernie Carswell with us, another Wall Street Journal top 100 agent who's been with us. You were with us about a year ago, though, right when Corona started, right? That was the last time.
It just descended upon us. It sure did, Eric.
Yeah. You were on a California panel, I think, with a lot of California agents.
A wild bunch. It was a wild and rocky ride.
Yeah. So we didn't know what was going to happen back then. I know you're obviously West Hollywood and LA, and you're obviously global as well because LA is global. But we really were so unsure back then of what's going on, and now here we are end up having a great year, right?
We've had a boom year, and we say that kind of shyly because we don't want to be insensitive to what's taken place in some of the other great metropolitan areas in America. But Los Angeles has literally boomed during this pandemic. And when we last talked, we were all quite frightened and thought we were just going to shut down and that was it. And exactly the opposite happened, Eric. And we've had the best increase in prices that we've seen in years. And January and February that we've just completed have been the busiest, highest grossing January and February in decades. So, I mean, that's how it's going here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we look forward to hearing all the details of that. I know you guys just reopened as well, and it looks like things are really on the up and up for you guys and across the country too. So looking forward to it. And then of course we have John Mark Mitchell, the man who has a tan better than mine, even though he lives in North Carolina in the winter, which I'm still trying to figure out.
I have to every once in a while.
The tan's looking good. The tan's looking good. But John Mark Mitchell, of course, started John Mitchell Prime Properties. I believe it was, I want to say over 20 years ago, correct?
No. Well, it's a long story, but officially it's been about 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I know you've been in the market forever, over 20 years. Number 1 agent, also broker owner, and I know you have agents in other areas as well of Carolina, over in the coastal area, Wilmington, and other areas. Yeah.
There you go. I told on myself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we were talking a lot. We've been talking a lot. You've been breaking records with sales for your area over and over again. And from what I hear, just from talking to people, in addition to you, not just you, Carolina is one of the hottest markets right now in terms of growth in the East Coast, with a lot of people coming to the safe haven of the mountains of Carolina, the beaches, away from the big city and into the single family homes, and getting great deals on properties that will increase dramatically as they move forward.
Well, they used to get a lot of great deals. I mean, here, because of the COVID, it's been we're fighting to the prices just keep going up and up and up, and it's been amazing. We're breaking a lot of records, but we are seeing an influx coming from say California, Chicago, Florida, New York, and a lot of them are buying second or third homes, and they want to have a place to go that they really enjoy, that has a little bit of everything, and 4 seasons. So it's nice. We've been very blessed.
I will tell you, Jean-Marc, that Asheville, North Carolina is probably the prettiest small city in the United States. I love it. It's beautiful.
I would certainly agree with you too. It is something else. And of course you've got Biltmore there. So,
Right.
you know, people ask me, they say, you know, coming from North Carolina, what got you into it? And I said, well, you know, I think it'd be a shame not to be in real estate and have the largest house in America in your state.
Right.
So it's kind of cool.
I do feel like Asheville and the Western Carolina mountains, you know, Winston-Salem, they're becoming a lot more of a household name as they've done previously. Is that correct? People like Ernie just mentioned it, but obviously Ernie's in the industry, but I feel like consumers and agents are all recognizing how gorgeous and unique it is compared to maybe 5-10 years ago when people might not have known as much about it.
It really is. And like you said before, I know it sounds like we're just repeating ourselves, but on the idea of the mountains and the coast, and you can get to it within hours, really beautiful beaches, beautiful mountains. It really is extraordinary. And we've got a lot of, you know, School of the Arts here in Winston-Salem, wonderful restaurants. A lot of people, we've had some chefs from New York that's moved down here that's opened up restaurants, and they're doing amazing. So we're very proud of it. It's very good.
And obviously yesterday we talked, you said it was 72 degrees, the top was down, I believe, and you're going through the mountains and the beach was a couple hours away. So I had a vision of that while I was in my office here.
It's 76.
Sounded pretty good to me, for sure. So we'll come back around you. We look forward to getting a lot more information and knowledge from you. So thank you so much. And we'd love to know the restaurants too. Thank you so much.
I'll be happy to share.
Thank you. All right, well, let's start with Darlene, who had an incredible year last year. Let's get right into the question with inventory. How has things changed in the last few months since we last talked? And what do you think moving forward for 2021 in terms of inventory and the Santa Fe and New Mexico market moving forward?
Well, inventory's at an all-time low, of course, as it is probably everywhere, most places. And I don't see it changing. I mean, more and more people are, the younger people, we used to have a lot of older retired people. They came here to retire. Now we're seeing a lot more tech, people from Google, Apple, all over, people who are working at home, people coming in droves from San Francisco. Our primary market used to be Texas, but now there's just lots and lots of people from San Francisco. There have been lots of people buying sight unseen. I'm digging around, just trying to find out whatever's unlisted, selling it before it's listed. I sold 2 last week before they hit the market, and one, they wouldn't even take the asking price. You know, we had to go over, even though, because they were just anticipating the bidding war. And it's not unprecedented in Santa Fe. Santa Fe was before a brisk market, but it's really now, I mean, I usually have 70, 80 listings actually, and I might have, I don't even know, I can't, I'd have to count. I mean, I sold like 4 yesterday. I mean, it's just really moving and people are really, really coming here. And I think it's still really affordable compared to most of the country, where it used to be maybe a little higher than some places. I think some of those places have gone up even more than Santa Fe. So it's also really affordable. They can come here and spend, you know, a few $1 million, and it's like get a really great house where they have a really maybe small apartment somewhere. So,
You know, Darlene,
mhm.
it makes sense to me because Santa Fe, and I've been there, seems to be the definition of clean air and holistic living. I mean, everything is so healthy. And so San Francisco has been the opposite of that during the pandemic. And I can see why people want to escape the cities and get to a very healthy place like Santa Fe.
They do, and we have no traffic. Like 4 cars at a stop sign is like everyone's, you know, oh my God, we're like having to wait. So, and the young people I've sold to from these tech, you know, larger tech companies said, my friends are coming, you know, they're all coming, and they're talking about it sort of being discovered. It's funny because obviously I've been here for 31 years, but it's just it's just such a much more variety of people coming here, which is really great to see. It really is. It's great for Santa Fe, but Santa Fe has been shut down, totally shut down. Now that is bad because it's a small economy. They can't really take it. It's opening up now. I guess we'll get to that question later, but yeah, it's good to see here. It really is, but we need more houses and we have very limited, we can't grow that much because of there's still limited space to build more houses. So
It's interesting that you touched on the high tech people that are coming down there, because we had last week we had a partner on from Tahoe and California Tahoe, and he was telling us that the same thing. But of course, you expect that from Tahoe because the San Francisco connection. But other agents that we're talking to in other markets are saying that there's an influx of people from Silicon Valley, and apparently they just made announcements recently that it's not just going to be for the next year. Some of these companies are forever working from home. So
right.
I don't think that's going to change. I think that you're going to have that influx. They're probably looking at Tahoe and Santa Fe and a few other areas like that, you know, and Colorado maybe. And it sounds like that's just going to get more and more in demand for you guys. And there's only so many properties they can go to. So it looks like that's a big driver for you guys and for others.
It is for sure. And they're coming more because even everything's changing how people work. So even if people go back to the office, there's probably going to be more flexibility and maybe they can easily get back to San Francisco or San Jose from Santa Fe. So they can just go back for a week and come back. It's a whole lifestyle change people have really enjoyed, I think. They're not waiting for retirement anymore. So
yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Now you did 264 million in sales last year, which is that your record year?
That is, I mean, the record for any broker that I know about in Santa Fe in residential sales is something like 60 million ever, except for me. Every year I've been, you know, I mean.
So you did 5 times that, 4 times that.
Yeah.
You're a busy woman, Darlene. You're a busy
in the
woman.
history of Santa Fe, that is. So yeah, so
that's awesome.
But I mean, except for me, which I've broken it for years now. But yeah, it was a busy year because for us, our average price point is really about 480,000. It is not like 2 million.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of. It was like 282 sides. It was crazy. Good.
How did you achieve it last year for things that you did? Is there anything that you did differently than previous years with Corona and with such a great number?
Well, we did a lot of FaceTime,
mm-hmm.
a lot of, you know, video, people buying before they got here. It was a little scary at first, you know, you're like, you haven't seen this house, are you sure? But they all came and liked them, thank goodness. As far as I know, they're all happy. But, you know, a lot of that, and it was so much more work because there was so much going on. It was great. I have someone who drives me and I can work on the computer in between because they're not coming in the car with us due to COVID. So that was kind of a helpful little break between showings.
Yeah.
But it was really, really, and it's really the same. This year may surpass. It is, I am quite a bit ahead of this time last year. So we'll see, you know, who knows?
How are you doing this year so far? First quarter, are you on the same pace or better or?
No, way much better. But,
wow.
Yeah. But our problem is there's no, I'm much better. Yeah. But there's no, you got to find the homes. You've got to find the inventory. I have a list of people who want houses and what they want. And we're just watch for it to come.
Well, with inventory and it's being so hard to get a property, obviously that's probably why a lot of people are gravitating towards the top agent as opposed to working with their friend, because you have the connection to get it done. And I think that probably is in your benefit. I would imagine getting a lot of business of people that, you know, hey, we're not going to be able to get a property unless we go with the best.
That happens. Yeah. There's a certain attitude. You think people don't care when the market's so hot. But they actually do care when it's this competitive because they know. My thing is, besides being the top, you know, person sales, is I'm really responsive and on it. So I'm always pretty determined and digging around and finding what's going on. So it's, people know that. So they're like, we know you'll be on it. You'll find it for us. It takes a lot of determination.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's not easy. So,
Back over to, let's go over to Ernie in LA. We love the Cabana series. We were just talking about that. Ernie every Saturday does a Cabana Cabana series and talks about what's going on in real estate overall in general, not just in LA a lot, with different topics. And we love it. And we put it on our Instagram page, and I know you put it up on your page. So how things, I know we talked a little bit in the opener there, but tell us about things with you, with the reopening and how everything going as you hit 2021 running here at the end of the first quarter.
Sure, Eric, and thank you. Yeah, LA, I think it's national news that LA was hit pretty hard. I mean, we know Manhattan was just crushed, as was San Francisco. The vertical cities were really put upon by the pandemic. Los Angeles being the great sprawl that it is, very much like Miami, but you know, we didn't think it would hit us so hard, but the numbers kept rising. But as you say, we're preparing to open up much more fully. We are still at the highest alert, which is purple, and we're about to go to red, which means indoor dining will now become available for 25% capacity, movie theaters, gymnasiums, you know, health fitness places. But we've really dropped down our numbers. We were 44,000 new cases a week, January 14th, and now we're only 10% of that a week. We're like less than 4,100.
Wow.
So the governor, and who's called some heat about all this, and our mayor, we're about to open LA any day now. It may be tomorrow. I think they're trying to do it by this weekend. But we've been surprised how real estate has just kept going. And as Darlene and John Mark have said, our markets, you know, whether they're Carolina, Santa Fe, or LA sprawl, people are buying. And we have had some longtime Los Angelenos try to move further out to like Santa Barbara, to the mountains. Palm Springs has had a huge boom because it's a desert city and considered healthy and all of that. But, you know, we have about 7 months supply sitting right now. But this time last year, we had 10 months supply. So our numbers are dwindling because there's been a lot of buying up. And when you hear 7 months supply, it sounds so different from what Darlene is expressing about having no inventory in Santa Fe, which I understand. But it's really hard to find a good house in LA. You know, you hear 7 months. Well, what's left is not really the best of the best. A lot of the best has been sold off. So we're hoping for new inventory that's good and beautiful. There is still the tail end of a development boom. So some new construction homes will be coming on. The best ones sell instantly. Just like Darlene mentioned, I sold a house this past week before it came on the market. We were in multiple offers and it sold over the expected list price. So we're seeing that happen here as well.
Are you seeing people coming from Northern California, from Silicon Valley down your way as well?
Yeah, those Silicon Valley folks, and they get around, don't they?
They got a lot of money too.
that's right. Yeah.
They're going everywhere else. I hope
Yeah.
someone's going to be left in Silicon Valley. There's some beautiful neighborhoods there, but yeah, we've got a few of them down here for sure, especially in our equestrian areas. Ojai Valley, I sold a ranch there, and the outlying areas, you know, inner city Los Angeles is still hurting. No one wants to be in the density anywhere. Maybe that's true even in Miami. I don't know. But if you've got a big yard, you've got open air living in any city, I would bet that that's doing quite well in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, in Miami, the same exact thing. Now we have the waterfront properties, of course, but single family homes, condos took a huge hit, but they're bouncing back. They're starting to bounce back now. The numbers are similar to yours. They've gone way down. Everyone on the East Coast is down here right now. I know John Mark coming down to Florida in a week or two, so he's one of them. But because we don't have as many restrictions, and you know, it's almost like it's normal down here. I go on the road and talk about, you said you have four cars, the stop sign, Darlene, I think you said.
Yeah.
We have about 4,000 cars.
Yeah, right.
Gridlock, but no one's, I'm in my office, but most people aren't even coming to their office. So where's the traffic coming from? In the morning, there's no traffic, but starting around noon, it's like, you know, everyone's down here for working from home. And the honest problem for us is they don't wear their masks a lot because they're like, oh, I'm gonna they get in the vacation mode, you know, and they're not wearing their mask as much as maybe as much as they would. But it's really helped the property values, but the condo market's bouncing back. So your condo market is I guess that was my next question. Single family homes as compared to the condo market. How are both doing right now, and how do you project moving forward?
Well, if you're asking about LA, we do have a
Yeah.
high-rise condo area here, primarily in Westwood. It's called the Wilshire Corridor. Dead, just fell right through the bucket bottom. And I think we're beginning to see signs of life, but in a climate like we have in California and in a open sprawl like we have, the condos were the first to lose momentum and have really been hard hit by this. We're not at the point you're at,
Yeah.
Eric, in Miami. They're not resuscitated yet, but I'm beginning to see some signs of life. Yeah.
I mean, it reaches a point where I'm actually one of them. I purchased a condo down here recently, and I got an amazing deal. It was about 2-3 months ago. But I think now my friend's looking at the same kind of thing, and he can't find anything. So I think it's definitely bounced back. So it reaches a point where you say, hey, I can live in LA in this condo for this amazing price. Why not do it? So it sounds like that's coming soon.
Well, all of us on this call are real estate agents, and real estate agents are listening. And I think what is imperative to do at this point, there's challenge in our career, like the lack of inventory that Darlene's speaking about, and even John Mark saying good things are drying up. But it's the perfect time to be a condo buyer, because you will get the best deal that you have for 10
Absolutely.
years.
That is true.
It's the perfect time.
Absolutely. I couldn't believe the deals out there when I was looking back in December. It's unbelievable. So, but yeah, that's definitely bouncing back over here. John Mark, do you guys, are there many condos in your area of Winston-Salem and the Western Carolina, or the beaches, or is it mainly those beautiful single family properties that we're seeing?
Well, it's a little bit of everything. One of the things that I have to do is I write for the luxury lifestyle magazine, Lux Lifestyle Magazine. And I try to hit all of the East Coast from, say, Nantucket all the way down to Miami. And one of the things that I always look for is, of course, New York being the condos. And the interesting thing about what my prediction was, or what I thought, is that everyone was going to leave the condos. They're going to come down here, and that's the way it's going to be. And interestingly enough, in January, they had, I think it was the second week in January or the third, they had 27 condos over $4 million in New York go under contract in 1 week, which was pre-COVID numbers. In fact, it was better than pre-COVID numbers, which tells me through the research that I did is that you've got a lot of people that I think they want more space. And if they want to live in the city, they're going to want bigger in the city. And so, yeah, they want maybe a place in hopefully in North Carolina or one of our southern states, but they more importantly want more space. So that's an interesting thing. In Winston-Salem itself, or in Charlotte, we're seeing that people have not gravitated away from the condominium lifestyle or downtown living. And kind of what I predict is kind of interesting. While people are working at their home and they're not necessarily going into the office that's downtown, they kind of still like that downtown living. I don't think they've ever got that completely out of their system. And I think that they are still wanting to do that. And fortunately, I think it's going to save our cities. I was worried actually months and months ago about New York. And that's why I've studied it so much, because I felt that could it be a ghost town? Is that something that people, that's got the money, they're going to be moving to anywhere outside of the city? And I don't have that fear anymore. And based on what I'm seeing, it's kind of, it's very, it's going to be good for them actually in some ways. The people that want to stay there are staying there. They're buying bigger places. So that's interesting.
So tell us more about the rise of Winston-Salem and the Carolina as a whole, in terms of the values of properties going up so much, and how it's becoming one of the hottest markets in the country. Tell us more about that, and the reasons why you see that happening, and how you see that moving forward.
Well, of course, our average price here is different. We at Mitchell Prime Properties, we're spread out over the state, and I have a little bit of knowledge, everything from the mountains all the way down to the coast. And so, but here, more importantly, our average price is around $270. And so, one of my brokers here in the office had listed a 2-bedroom in had 3 acres, and on a graveled road not in the city, obviously. And, he put it at 520. And I thought, I don't know. I even drove out there to have to see it because I said, I just don't think if we're going to get it, it's because of the market and everything's driven because of that, because it's just, you need it. Well, to my surprise, I had actually told him, I said, I think that might be a little high, but we'll see. Within 4 hours, we had 4 offers quickly hit the market, all of them overpriced. Not overpriced, excuse me, over the price that we're asking. Take that back. And, you got to be careful, And, ultimately we have it under contract at a substantial amount. And I'm talking almost $50,000 over what we were asking. And the other offers were right around that. So it's, there's been a lot of surprises that's come because of COVID, all of which have been in some aspects for real estate, quite encouraging, at least for the market. I'm sure we all agree that a year ago, when we were hearing everything shut down, I'd kind of come to the realization that this is going to be difficult. It's going to be, and it is difficult now, but in a different way, because it's difficult to find the houses that we can find for our loyal customers and clients. And again, to hit on what Darlene had said, I do think that the buyers and sellers are gravitating towards the top producers, such as Darlene and Arnie in the areas, because they know that they have connections that, we're hearing the gossip first of where someone is thinking about moving and where someone might be thinking about getting another house or doing something. And that really does make a difference in the search process. And we've been very fortunate to be able to help those individuals.
Tell us more about, you had a record-breaking sale recently. I think it was 2 months ago for, tell us more about that sale and how you got it, how it happened. Tell us the story.
It was the largest. It was a legacy estate that's here, and legacy estate in North Carolina is anything in this area. Winston-Salem would be Haynes or Reynolds, and I'm sure Ernie. I believe you're from South Carolina originally.
I am. I'm a Carolina guy, yep.
That's right. So those are names that have been hit really hard here, and so it was a Haynes estate, and it was a 184 acre, just beautiful, incredible estate. Nice, very nice home. And we wanted, obviously it was a price that was going to be quite large. It ended up being the largest private sale residential in the history of our MLS system for Forsyth County. And I say that, and at the same time it's around 4.6 in that neighborhood. But quite an accomplishment, especially considering COVID. It was a developer that ultimately I was fortunate enough to have both sides of that. And
oh, wow.
we put it together, and it is going to be a development, which is encouraging because we need more land here to build for the people that's coming here and in a certain price range. So it's been good.
That's awesome. Congrats on that.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, was last year, was it your record-breaking year for you last year as well?
It's been record-breaking every day.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I don't want to even talk about numbers because we have competition in other companies here, and I've had a lot of sales that didn't even that are not in the multiple listing system, and that we sold it before it, and we just because of some of the restrictions that we have of how it has to go about into the system, and I had permission from buyers, sellers, etc. They didn't even want it listed, and so we've had some interesting things happen that I couldn't even fathom probably a year ago because the market is that intense.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Well, I mean, the prediction is, are we going to continue this? A lot of people have asked me, they said, boy, you better be enjoying it now. And I'm like, I appreciate that. And it's a little bit of sarcasm in it, that they're like, you're just killing it. And I'm like, yeah, but you better be saving it up, and everything. But every part of my job is, as we want to know what tomorrow is, and the day after that, and the month after that, and the year after that. And everything that I can predict based on every search, everything, it is going to be amazing for this year and continue to be that in the real estate world. The only thing that I caution people because we've had some listings where we've had literally 35 offers on a particular house, and I'm sitting there. It seems insane to have that. I encourage my buyers, I'm always cautious of that not to be in so much of a win game that they lose sight of where they could be, say 2 years or 3 years if they get transferred or whatnot. Because I do think that we are setting in some aspects, I predict 3 years from now, could be a cautious tale of where we enjoyed it so well and we encourage people to buy at such a point, not because we were saying it, but the market said it, that it actually hit us in reverse, and that people are much higher in debt of than what they can sell it for. Don't know that can happen. That is a slight caution that I feel that we have to address. And I tell my buyers that just be, let's not just 100% we got to win and throw out $100,000 or whatever over what asking price is, just so you can win. You need to look at this and make sure that this is, something that you 100% want, because you can have it for a while.
That's good advice. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
I was going to kick it back over to you, Darlene, actually, and ask you about what the average. So on that note, what's the average, since your inventory is so limited right now? How long are they usually on the market? Properties and luxury, $1 million and over in your market, and how long? How much over asking price are they usually going for?
Well, it's hard to say because still, like I said before, our average sales price is really like 480,000. So under $1 million is just gone, and it just depends how it's priced. And some people are actually underpricing them to get the bidding war and then get that frenzy and get it to be over. Once you get over $1 million, it's still, $1 million to $2 million. There's still bidding wars. I don't know that it's going massively over in that price range, but it is. And if it's priced well, and if it's a good house, because to the point earlier, I think Ernie said, like, there's still some inventory of houses that, are sticking around that might be a little overpriced, or maybe were on before too high. It's still very price sensitive, still needs to be priced right. And right can be too low and then get much higher, but at least right. But we are very sensitive to stairs here. So houses with a bunch of stairs need to be priced accordingly, or they might hang around. And then once you get over 2 million, depending what and where, it can be a little slower, and slower sort of depends, because there's some $2 million houses hanging around, but the great houses, 2 to 3, 4 million are selling. And it used to, sometimes our inventory of like $4 million dollar houses could be 2 or 3 years. Now it's maybe 6 months. So, but definitely 1 to 2 million still moving, but it may not be a bidding war. But in the downtown center, possibly just due to the lack of inventory. It just depends on the house. It's kind of a hard question to generalize, but it's moving. It's just all selling. And I'm listing one downtown that's actually a new construction soon. And I think that's going to go like really quickly, because we don't have much new construction. They bought like a guest house on the lot, and they did a super great job with a brand new house, and it's close to 4 million. And I don't think it'll go in a bidding war, but I bet it'll go within 30 days, which is very quick for us for that price range. So, yeah.
Now, I know you guys have that big art festival events that a lot of people come to town with each year. My parents used to do that, and I know you couldn't do it last year. Are you going to do that this year or next year? Are they going to have that open?
We don't know yet. We hope. They're announcing that soon. We hope. We went to green, what they call green level, just a few days ago. So hotels are at 75%. And I just called someone I know, the manager over at one of our local hotels, the Anasazi, and trying to get help to get someone in because they're booked, which is great. And restaurants are at 50% now. So that's all. And everybody's out eating finally. I think it's been long enough not going out. I mean, I've hardly gone anywhere for like a year. Yeah. And I hope that the festivals will be open, and the opera, we really need that. It's a small community. Many of the people here survive on the tourism that just didn't happen last year. So we'll see. I hope. I don't know yet. I think it's soon. She's the governor. She's announcing it
Yeah.
maybe in the next few weeks. So
Yeah. Now, on the restrictions, you touched on that earlier a little bit. Where are you guys at? I know you mentioned just now some things. Where's everything at with regard to restrictions for when you show properties and for real estate restrictions and things?
so we still, like I had said earlier, we follow each other. We still don't drive together in the car. That's what we always used to do that. Wear masks, try to be careful in the house. It's kind of the same thing we've been doing for a long time. But I think as more and more people get vaccinated, they're feeling more and more comfortable in the houses. But we definitely still follow because, most of the people coming here are getting off of a plane or been traveling from somewhere. So we really just follow each other in cars. And there's certain advantages and disadvantages to that. I feel like I don't get to know the people as well because you don't get to really talk to them. There's a lot of conversation that can happen in the car, and it's kind of, and then now we can go have lunch or do, some visit at that. But during the peak of this, there wasn't even a place to eat together or drive together. It's hard to just really get to know a person showing them a house or 5 or 10 houses and just, so that I missed that personal aspect. I don't know when we'll start riding in cars together again. We'll see. But
I do have time for lunch. You're doing 4 deals in one day. When do you have time for lunch?
Yeah, right. Not here at my desk or in the car while driving between these houses. It's,
Sounds like you're in your car a lot. Hopefully you have a cleaning person for the car.
Yeah, right. Driver and cleaning. Yeah, it's like couldn't drive around all the time and do all this. So I have a lot of great help though. So
yeah, you do. We work with your team all the time, and you've got a great team. And I guess having great people around you to help out, all you guys seem like you have great people around you to help out. That makes your job easier and makes it so that you can get things done.
Couldn't do it. It's the best investment someone can make, really, is some great help because it frees you up to do the more important things that make money. And just spending your time doing the paperwork and the things that we're not really needed for.
Yeah.
People. And I have great people. Everybody's great.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
But it's hard to find great people. I know a lot of agents that have been looking for people for years and can't find the right people that they can trust.
It took years.
It seems like you all have people that you trust and have really strong teams that you have. So
years. Yeah.
Let's take
lots of trial and error and lots of error.
Yeah. You get them, you got to keep them, right?
Yes. And yes. It's very.
And then Darlene, another question I had for you was, what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about selling their property, but they've been hesitant because of COVID? They don't want people coming through the house with getting the disease, et cetera. And they're worried about it being the right time right now. What would your advice be to them?
Well, obviously it's a great seller's market, right? With the lack of inventory and the high prices, and we don't know where it's going to go and where it's going to end up. So selling is terrific right now. And we have been very fortunate that we know of. We haven't, caused people to have COVID in the house. We're still careful. We wear masks. We try not to touch things. We often ask the sellers to turn on the lights and let them turn off the lights and leave some doors open. So we're really not touching things. And we're just being really careful, and they can wipe things down after. And obviously it's one of the greatest sellers markets in the history of real estate. So if someone wants to sell, now's the time, no question. But get a good broker and price it right. It's very important to price it right. It still is, even though it's a seller's market, you can push it, but you can only push it the right amount. It's really important. People are not, in some cases they are being a little insane, but I try to dissuade that also. And
they probably have other agents making promises that they can't keep with every now and then trying to get the property.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong with a good house, a house that has good location. It's always going to be very saleable. Even if the market corrects, it's very important to look at that. And not just settle because you can't find a house. And then you have a house that has issues, and those things turn. If they do turn, then that's always more difficult. So
back over to Ernie. Ernie, you're always a great storyteller. So I mean that in a positive way. You always tell a story, tell everything so well. So my question to you would be, pick one great success story from COVID with a challenge that turned into a solution and a happy situation for the customer and for you. Do you have any story that jumps out to you from the past year?
I'm trying to think of that great story, Eric, but I think that my experiences sound very much like Darlene and John Mark's, in that we've all had to do this new thing, which is, first we thought we we're going to have to show homes virtually. And yes, we've sold some homes without people actually coming into them, as has been said on this call. But it is opening up now. And, the thing I miss, and I'm just kind of busting out with a lot of thoughts that have been shared here among the group, so I'm just going to hit all the notes. I miss our broker caravans. And like Darlene said, you're having to follow, the clients are having to follow us. In LA, sometimes the clients will get in the agent car, but LA is a car town, and often they would follow us. But we would maybe have client lunches, or we would have visits in a meeting setting, whether in their home or in one of the homes. So, but agents have not been able to show properties to each other except by appointment and all of this kind of very slow boat to China method. I really long for that to come back. But at the same time, I'm going to say, I don't think we're going back to what used to be. I think we need to be realistic about that. The whole idea of working from home, I mean, it's been nice to a degree, but I'm ready to go back to our real estate office. Our offices, are great hubbubs of networking and all of that. And we've missed a year of that. We've had to be on the phone calling and tracking down agents to get, our tidbits and, to network. So, but I still think something has been learned during this year, and people have learned how independently they can work. And companies have learned that. I think the real estate companies are going to start shrinking office space to save money. They've been hit hard with expenses this year. And so we're going to see a different reality on the other side of this that's quickly coming. And about New York, I've already bought my tickets. I'm going there, John Mark, because I love that city. It's one of the world's greatest, if not the greatest city in the world. So it will survive and it will come back. And I formerly was a Manhattan broker in the 80s. But Broadway needs to reopen. I mean, that city, I feel so bad about the theaters that have been closed. And in Hollywood here, our Hollywood Bowl, we really hope they're going to open this summer, because that's the best thing to do in Los Angeles as a pastime and for the arts, to sit out and eat under the stars and have a beautiful concert, whether it's Katy Perry or the Philharmonic. It's just the best thing to do in LA. But they were closed last season for the health conditions. So we're really looking forward to getting back some of the fun stuff. Pricing is so important in all three of these markets. You've heard it here, Eric. And regardless of our inventory levels, a buyer will not pay a crazy price in LA, even though our luxury price points start at 6 million and go up. Last year was a year we sold more homes over 100 million than ever in our history. So yes, the big tall timber sold, and it's pretty expensive to buy something super luxurious in Los Angeles, at least over 50 million. But still, people will not overpay. And if it's perceived that a house, no matter how luxurious it is overpriced, it's going to sit. It's going to sit. So pricing is still very important for us to guide our sellers. And unfortunately, some real estate agents just falsify a price to their prospective sellers in order to get a listing. And it hurts all of us when that's done. They may end up with a listing, but then they lose a client for life, because when the house doesn't sell, because they push the price up just to get the listing, they lose the listing, and then that client doesn't ever want to work with them again. Agents should use good sense, give good consult, give realistic prices, and get long-term relationships. What we all love, and I've heard every one of these agents say, is the relationships with our clients, the loyalty. We live on that, and it's the true joy more than the money we earn. I love what comes from a long career with the same people that really depend on my opinion to make their decisions where they're going to live.
Yeah, no, very, very well said.
Well said.
On the front of the school system there, because I know that you have so many people that move, relocate for an education in California, because you have some of the best school systems in the world. And I know that's kind of been taken away with the remote schooling and stuff. What's the forecast for that for the fall? And how's that going to affect real estate? What's your take on that?
Yeah, schools are opening up. Los Angeles public schools are hit or miss. I mean, Beverly Hills School District is one of the best in the nation, and we got some others here in our city that are very solid, good public schools. And then there are parts of town you have to go to private. You just can't go to the public school there. Our universities, UCLA, USC, and a number of other great respected colleges and universities, you know, they've made it through, and they're going to start having classroom open study this fall for sure. But we just sold the USC President's Mansion and in multiples and over list price. So we're proud of that. But the universities are going to be well set for the coming season and for the coming semesters.
Okay, well, that's a very positive sign. And then what advice would you give for someone that it maybe hasn't put their house on the market yet in LA downtown because of what's been happening? What would you tell someone who came to you and said, you know, I'm thinking about selling. When do you think the right time would be? Is now the right time to sell, or should I wait a little bit and sell later this year?
Well, look, we all have just seen interest rates begin rising. Okay, they've risen now week after week after week. We've had some changes in the stock market. What we know is now, and now is a good time to be a seller, and it's still a good time to be a buyer. It's not going to remain that forever. One of those categories is going to start slipping. So I don't want to over forecast here, but this is the time to take action, whether you're a buyer or a seller. What the heck are you waiting on? I mean, these clients that I have that sometimes say, well, I'm waiting on it. I'm like, you're wrong to wait, you know, wrong to wait. Don't wait. You know what you've got now to deal with, and you can find it, except in Santa Fe, apparently.
That's right. Just come to me, I'll find it.
Eric, I feel bad, but you know, I have that other obligation I have to jump off for, but this is always a pleasure. We love Haute Living. You guys run a top operation, and across the nation, we look to you to keep us all informed and keep us all networking together. So thank you and the organization for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Ernie. Thank you. And we'll
Thank
definitely let
you.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely have you on again soon. I'll email I'll connect all you guys afterwards on an email. We'll have a full video of everything as well. So thanks again. We'll finish up with John, Mark, and Darlene, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks again for all the great content and for the great compliments, and we appreciate you, and congrats on all your success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Over to John Mark. John Mark, wanted to find out from you a little bit, a similar question. What advice would you give someone in Carolina right now who hasn't put their house on the market yet and they're thinking about doing it, or maybe they should wait till the end of the year? What would you say to them?
I would have to say, kind of mimic what Ernie was saying. I mean, it's the best time. I mean, there is no better time than right now. We have, as Darlene was saying, you know, you have a list of clients that are looking for a certain thing, and now we've just got to go out and kind of find it. I mean, we have several agents that are scrolling through expired listings from 2 years ago, or withdrawn listings from 3 years ago, or anything that we can find that maybe they've changed their mind, maybe, you know, and just see to reevaluate, are they thinking about selling? Just so, because we know this is the best time to sell, and because of the interest rates and everything, it's obviously the best time to purchase. So it's good.
Are there any areas of Carolina? Because I know you cover all of the Carolinas, really. So is there any area of Carolina that maybe is kind of like a hidden gem that people don't know about yet, like the next Asheville or something like that?
I think it's kind of probably Winston-Salem. I know that sounds.
No, you know what? I was thinking that you might, and I agree with you because I see the properties that you have, and I didn't realize that Winston-Salem, you know, has.
I just listed
very
one.
similar to Asheville, actually. Very similar.
So it's incredible. And one of the things that, you know, to talk about the COVID and how that affected us, you know, we closed down, everything was like everybody, you know, and we weren't sure what was going to be happening. To talk about, we do the mask, we do all that stuff, you know, and everything. But interesting, Winston-Salem, like this weekend, they're shutting down the streets downtown, and they're going to move all the restaurants and the tables out into the streets and have some music and all this stuff. And we've got some of the best, I know I keep punching that, but the restaurants around, unbelievable. And so it's going to be, of course, we're going to do the mask or whatever, but, it's going to be more of a free, I think it's going to be the first weekend in probably a year that we felt okay about that we're actually bringing the life back into the city. And to kind of talk about how, compared New York and Winston, which it's different, obviously, but I think that while a lot of people are, they do miss that camaraderie with people. I think they miss that unity, if you will. And COVID did not prevent that, or did not cause that to go away. That we need that. That's the most important thing that we have as human beings. And I think it's encouraging to see that while we may work in a separate office, we do feel that we want to be close to people, even if it's, somewhere meeting them in an elevator or whatever, but you want to talk, you want to have that social interaction. And I think that this weekend, as well as that's not just Winston-Salem, I think I've heard about it through other places in the Carolinas, they're going to be opening that up. And I think it's very encouraging.
That's awesome. Well, I know there's nothing more gorgeous in the springtime in Carolina, in the mountains there, when the
Right.
gorgeous 75-degree day. You can work on your tan a little bit, driving through the mountains with the flowers blooming, and
That's right.
That's
Convertible, you got to have it all. I'm telling you. You had mentioned about another gym. I think the other gym, we opened up an office last year during COVID but we didn't have the grand opening yet, in a place called Emerald Isle. And very encouraged with what that is doing down there. It is absolutely amazing. And there have been some articles that talk about Emerald Isle is the new Naples. And while it's not quite that size or that, it's just absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. And they have done very well. We've also got some areas in Brunswick County, which would be Southport and all of those beaches. What's interesting about the beaches in Carolinas, like Sunset Beach, Oak Island, Ballhead Island, you get to watch the sun rise on the beach and set on the beach. And so it's just absolutely beautiful. So from the East Coast, West Coast thing, you really get the both of all that right here in the Carolinas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you mentioned Emerald Isles, similar to Naples. The difference is Naples doesn't have the waterfront though, really. Right. And you have the waterfront there. So I think I've heard a lot of people that I've talked with, agents in other areas, like Sarasota, our partner who's on recently, Joel Schemmel, he said that he's having an influx of people from Naples coming his way. Exactly. So because it's not waterfront, and with COVID, people want that waterfront right now.
They want the waterfront. Well, Naples is more like I call it a big lake as opposed to the ocean. But it's beautiful. But having that ocean is something else. Very refreshing.
Yeah, agreed. Quick question for you on, I'm a fan of your brand that you do, your branding that you do. Oh yeah. The logo, your lion. How did you come up with that and why?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I've had it been said that they thought it was because the way I choose to wear my hair, that it's like a lion's mane.
Yeah, I can see that.
But that's not it. That's not it. But if they want to, they can say that's it. It was kind of like, for me, the lion was a throwback on opening up an independent company and seeing that it was something that you could, children could see a lion and they see it in a cage and they say, that's a lion. And I was not trying to pun that off that that's corporate America, but it kind of made me feel that way. And then you can see a lion on the prairies in Africa, and that's a lion. And the only thing that's different is how the lion feels about themselves. And so I took that lion logo as kind of somewhat of a rally cry of where I want to see the industry grow and go, and that we're going to, as we say, hashtag raise the roar. We really want to, we're going to raise the bar in the industry, and we want to raise the roar. And so it's kind of like how that came about.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, you're roaring right now for 2021.
We like to roar.
I didn't think about the lion with you, but when you say that, I could see that a little bit in a good.
A friend of mine, Jack Canfield, was able to pen a chapter in one of his books, and he met me in LA, and we were talking, and he said, I can see this whole lion persona of you. And that's kind of what I was like, well, that's not really it, but I'm that's great. I like that. I'll take it.
Well, you do live it, because when you send text, you put the lion emoji on.
I do put that with a couple of maybe a smiley face and some thumbs up.
That's
But
great.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
great. No, I love it. We love your brand, and you obviously really enjoy the marketing element of things, and we're in marketing, so and you make it very unique, and it stands out as a very high class brand.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. I've always told the brokers I have in the company, I'm like, there's really, we're doing the same thing that everybody's doing when it comes to real estate, and you've got to really focus on two really great things, and I encourage them to always be working on their marketing, because I think if your marketing is on point, that's number one. And I think your negotiating skills has to be right there. And if you put those two things together, it's a beautiful marriage, and you're going to do well in this business.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. We'll go back to each of you guys one last time here. Let's go over to Darlene. One last question I want to ask you is, feel free to share anything with the audience out there. We'd love to hear your thoughts on anything else you'd like to talk about with regards to real estate in Santa Fe or New Mexico, or anything else you'd like to discuss with us as we wrap things up here.
I don't know.
That kind of question.
Okay. When it comes to Santa Fe, have me help you. There you go. I'll find it for you. I don't see this market particularly changing, because we'd have to have such a rise in inventory. If anything, it's not going to be overnight. It's usually at this time of year we have listings. We're going crazy trying to get everyone going, and it's just really dribbling in here and there, listing. There's so many more people coming to buy than list, and when it's listed, it's sold if it's priced right. Very key element. And so I really think that this market's just going to keep going, and I hope that we get opened up for the summer, and that the economy in Santa Fe can come to thrive again. We have a world-class opera. It'd be great to see that back, and the stores, and thank goodness the restaurants are at least at 50% now, and soon it's starting to warm up. It'll be, they have been eating outside with heaters and all of that, but it's still pretty cold, so it's getting warmer. I think all that's going to be great, and people are feeling more free to travel, so they're coming more and more, but it's really dictated by being able to find a house. So I just see this market continuing. And
maybe what's interesting is all this is happening with no international travel. So once international travel starts up again, that's going to bring some more demand from international buyers possibly as well.
More, but we don't have as many international buyers. We have some, but we don't have a lot. Ours come more from within the United States mostly, and some Canada, but mostly in the United States, mostly our buyers. So that'll affect us, but not as much. And it's harder to get here internationally. There's a few more connections and stuff. So I think that just as people can travel and feel more comfortable traveling, but it doesn't seem like they're leaving as much as they're coming. So that's mainly, we just see them coming, and they are feeling more better about traveling. So that's great. And many people can drive here. It's not so far from places like California and Texas, Colorado. A lot of people are coming here from Colorado. Colorado's getting more and more crowded, and it's, people are coming here because it's a little less populous than many areas of Colorado, and prices haven't gone up, and they're more competitive here in some cases. So that's good.
John, Mark, how about you? Any last words that you want to leave us with the audience out there? The floor is yours.
Well, just keep getting excited about real estate. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful business to get in always. I think it would be interesting. I know there's a lot of people getting in the industry now. And so I think they're going to be surprised at all the things that they're facing, as opposed to some of us that's been in it for, a long time. But it's also encouraging to see how, the industry changes. If nothing else, COVID has told us and has given us the idea that you can't bet on anything, and all things are changing. And again, the only thing that's constant is change. And so we have to adapt to that. And I think that this has given us actually some time to reflect on the relationships that we have with our past clients and loyal customers. And it's actually given us some time to take a moment to reflect on what we want to see in this industry. So there's been blessings even in this, besides the numbers. Obviously the numbers are great, but there's been other things that's been great as well.
And very well said. And I see in the background the lion, but by your right shoulder, I see a lion there.
Oh, well, there's always a lion. In hashtag, you need a lion in your corner. That's one of the things that we actually say a lot. I've got a billboard that says you need a lion in your corner with just a lion's eyes, and it glows at night. It's pretty interesting. Got some interesting things. Some people they like it. They don't forget it. So it's kind of cool.
Well, hopefully next time we see you, you'll have just as good a tan as you have now. With the weather,
I'm looking for your mask lines. I'm not seeing any there, Eric. I don't know. So anyway, I'm sorry.
When you come down here to South Florida, we'll have to see who's more tan.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, and I look forward to it.
Absolutely.
As always.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Eric, for everything, always, for all you do for us. Appreciate it, really.
Thank you guys for being on, Darlene, John, and of course we had Ernie on as well. You guys are great partners. You guys are amazing agents, and your insight that you give us is terrific for consumers and for other agents. And we're grateful of having you guys on. Everything's going to was on Instagram Live, Facebook Live, and Zoom. We're going to send you guys a full recording. I'll connect you guys on email, and we'd love to have you on again very soon. But congratulations on all your success. You guys are definitely. It's very impressive what you're doing, and congratulations on everything. And we look forward to next time we talk having even more success as well moving forward. And hopefully both of you guys can get a vacation soon, because it sounds like you're working way too hard.
It's been a pleasure.
Have a great day. Thanks again for everything.
Thanks a lot, Eric.
Have a
John
great
Mark,
day.
nice to see you. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Darlene.
Bye.
Thank you, Eric.